In fishing, there's a term where it says when it's your time, there's nothing that can stop you from winning. So it's when it's your time, it's your time. And so it's like almost spiritual, because when you're meant to win, nothing's going to stop you. Mm-hmm. Like everything is going to happen the right way. You're going to land the fish that you didn't think you're going to land. You're going to make a cast that you just wouldn't have made. Mm-hmm. Everything's just going to line up and you're going to win that tournament. And that's just what I believe. And a lot of people have a similar, idea around it, because when it happens, like for me, when I won the nationals, things just clicked.
Which, by the way, watch that video on Matty's YouTube. I watched it a few times.
Oh, really?
Because like you said, it's like really you didn't think you were going to win. And so most of the video is just, I got my limit. Maybe what do you call culling, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll keep this one and that one.
Don't ruin it for everyone else. I gotta encourage people to go and check it out.
No, go. Yeah. Look,
thank you, bro. I'm humbled that you watched it, dude.
Bro,
it makes me happy.
You know why? Because I think fishing is one of those categories or niches, whatever you want to call it, on the internet where people in it are in it.
Oh yeah.
It's one of those, like, you got diehard super fans.
Oh yeah.
That it's easier to sort of be a newcomer on the scene, especially when you highlight your background in content creation. Not just to not to diminish your actual skills of fishing, but paired with this history of content and stuff, you have a bunch of diehard fishing fans that if you jump on that scene, you can fish.
Yeah.
You've proven it, but then also you bring this background, and there's a little something special sauce, like Hawaii guy, you know what I mean? What like that in itself too is kind of a bit of a stars aligning, and it's supposed to happen.
Yeah,
it's happening right now.
It's crazy, man. I feel so incredibly humbled and grateful that it just everything is I feel like when it happened, it was like the moment. However, whether it's it was fate or it was God or it was just the universe or everything, but I feel like up until that point, everything that I've done in my life has been a collective to come together for this pinnacle. Just the time on the water, the fishing, whether if it was the time in Hollywood with like the photo stuff and the content creation, and whether it was filmmaking or if it was the acting part,
Oh yeah, that's right.
So it was just I felt like it was a culmination of everything where I'm like, wow, okay, now I've given this next phase of my life where I feel like everything's aligned. And I'm grateful that I was able to grow a pretty cool fan base pretty quickly. And I'm just still kind of in awe and shocked and humbled by all of it.
And in all honesty, it still feels like the beginning. It still
I hope it is. I'm not sure about the tournament scene is really grueling and it's pretty taxing mentally.
Can you lay that out? Just what is a tournament season at your level of being a professional fisherman?
Okay, so we start in February, and typically we start in Florida, but this year we're starting in the south of Texas. And we have back-to-back tournaments. So we have 3 days of practice, which is 30 minutes before the sun up, 30 minutes after the sun goes down. So 3 days in a row, and then right into 4 days of tournament. And then when we have double headers, it's literally back to back. So like 1 full week of fishing, turn around, drive to the next spot, another full week.
And you only have the last night of the first week to get to
the next place, get settled in, pull out new tackle for that next spot, right into it, right? You don't really get a breather to go take a look at the town. Like, what's the town like? It's like, no, like, where's the grocery store and where do I get gas? Go in, get your groceries for the week, fill up gas, and then you're hitting it next thing in the morning. And then from there, I have a schedule with seminars, trade shows, and that other stuff. So then I'm gone. That like I'll be gone for like another month after that. Right after like 2 back-to-back tournaments, boom, a bunch of trade shows, that other stuff, and then the next tournament happens. So you don't have time to like, oh, I have 2 weeks here. Okay, I can go. Like, it's usually your sponsors have everything that are, there's like a hierarchy of importance. Like, hey, we need you at this trade show. We need you at this trade show. Or, we're doing a release here. And so through all of my different partners that I'm with, I need to make sure, and I want to make sure that I'm available for them. And then it usually goes right into another tournament. So from February through August, I'm on the road. And whether that's in the South, whether it's in the East Coast, whether it's Midwest, I'm just basically living out of the truck.
And it works like an accumulative, like you're ranking through each tournament, culminating in a probably like finals.
Yeah, so they call it Angler of the Year race. So it's the AOI, and it's your points and your finishes and the averages throughout all the tournaments.
So you can have the person who didn't win anything in the first half of the, kind of.
You can't win AOI like that.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, because it's crazy, bro. Like the guy who wins AOI, you have to be like, everything has to line up for you because you win another $100,000. So
wait, so each one of these tournaments is $100,000?
Each one of these tournaments. So we have 8 scheduled events plus the classic, which is for $300,000. So you have to qualify for the classic. You have to be in the top 40 in AOI points, and then you qualify for the next year's classic. We have 8 regular season stops. Each one we fish for $100,000, and then you fish for $100,000 for the AOI at the end of the year, and then they pay down to ranking up to like I think 30 or 40 in bonuses.
Okay, so you're still getting paid if you're not.
You're still getting paid
winning.
If you're not winning. Like if you make a top 10, you're making a check from anywhere from like 20 to like you get 30. I think like on the Sabine River, I think I got a check for like $30,000 for
and what place were you?
That was 3rd place. So I was like, sweet.
Yeah.
Like the most money I've ever made at one point fishing, like just to get a check. I'm like, wow.
Was that a 4-day tournament too?
That was a 4-day tournament.
So you can say a week then.
It was so grueling.
The thing, like I'm hearing about it, that's like just sounds the most taxing, most grueling is not just the travel. I mean, obviously that's kind of an obvious one, driving and stuff. And I am assuming people who have done this a long time or got deep pockets, sponsors or themselves probably have like
they have drivers,
an RV and like a driver, cleans their boat. I don't know.
Yeah.
Pretty much,
yeah,
right?
You nailed it. Yeah.
So basically, I can go and check out that restaurant, or I have that time where I don't have to go shopping and get gas. But that to me sounds like the real fight. Getting up, thinking about what you're gonna eat, gassing up. Did I bring the right stuff? Oh, I only have 1 bag of this. Like the multitask nature.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Of what you have to deal with. It sounds like what you did at LA Hollywood, like just magnified.
Yeah, magnified by 10.
Because fishing already is a multitasking thing. But when you're putting in the logistic part of like traveling and also staying, like what about that? You have a manager like helps you?
Nope. Yeah, it's all solo dolo, bro.
So like all these commitments for your sponsors and stuff like that, like
I'm having to manage my schedule. I try to keep up with a Google Calendar, and then I share that with certain, people with like my bigger obligation sponsorships, and so then that way they know like, okay, where's Matty? Okay, he has this seminar from the 2nd through the 5th, and then he has a tournament on the 10th through the 14th, and then he has practice and then travel date. Okay, there's an open block here, we can snag him there. And so I try to make sure that the calendar's up. That's hard enough to keep a calendar going because then it's changing. Every like couple weeks it's changing. Things are like dates are coming and going, and then so my notes section on my iPad or on my iPhone, bro, is pretty mental.
Bro, like serious consideration, just hearing that.
Yeah.
I'm considered a virtual assistant. It's about $1,200. The one I know is like $1,200 to set up, like exploratory, figure out what you need.
Okay.
And then $300 a month after that.
Okay.
But you have someone's 40 hours a week to help with that kind of stuff. I mean, sorry, it's not 40 at 300. It goes like 3, 4, 5, 6, depending on how much hours you need.
Yeah.
Point being, it's someone who's dedicated to your operation, what you got going on, that could relieve some of that pressure. You know what I mean? Even if it's,
I wouldn't even know how to tell them what I would. You know what I mean?
But it's a worthwhile investment to like figure out this is what I need, or even if you just said, hey, here's my emails, like help me figure this out. Spend the first week, 2 weeks helping me figure out how you can.
I like that. So right
take it
now,
off your plate, man.
No, it's good. Okay, for me, that's my CPA.
Oh, okay.
So like that's
you have someone helping then.
So like that's my accountant. You know,
Okay.
so that's for me. That's the most important thing. Like I feel like I've gotten now to the point where my scheduling, like I basically got it. I've found a way, a workflow to manage that. The reconciling of your QuickBooks and like that stuff. Right. Almost like, okay, I'll pay someone. So like I have my CPAs in Texas, my everything's set up in Texas. So I'm like, that's
good.
You know,
so like when you're buying tackle, for example, or I'm assuming you're getting a mix
of bro.
Tackle being sent to you, and then you're also buying. But
yeah, I have a lot of tackle, a lot.
You might just need a warehouse sponsor.
Yeah, serious.
You know
yeah, any warehouse spaces. You know,
I could seeing how much. That's what I was trying to get to earlier. Was like, do you need that many poles?
Yeah. Yeah. So okay. So I this is the analogy that I like to put it, or to break it down.
Yeah.
A golfer. Right. So when you go and play golf, it's not one club for every single scenario. So you have a 400-yard shot to do. You're not going to like pick up your pitching wedge and go and try and make that shot.
Hey, speak for yourself, cuz.
Oh, okay. Oh, major.
Yeah,
Bro, you see Kenji, bro. You can drive 400 yards with a chipping wedge. That's awesome. No, there's a certain rod that I need to throw this.
You're telling me about this too.
That's a whole different setup that would be specific to throw that. I would need a different setup just to throw a topwater bait, which is something that's on the surface. I would need a different setup to throw something that's heavier, like this little guy that would, you know, you fish down in and out of grass. Where it has
is that making sound? Is that a chatterbait?
That's not a chatterbait.
Oh.
This is all stuff for Hawaii. This is like my secret Hawaii box.
Oh,
this is the Lake Wilson juice.
This is all Lake Wilson.
Yeah. So it's like all these since they're smaller, I can get away with 2 to 3 rods to fish this stuff, and that's typically what I do when I go to Wilson. But when I'm fishing on tour, you need, for me, I'll have about 20 rods tied up. And then by the end of practice, I condense it down to like 6.
Oh, so the practice is like, which ones do I need for tomorrow?
Yes.
Basically.
Once you can pattern the fish and figure out what they're on, you know, like the way that we found Opelu, you know, the way we can.
You found them. Hey, I was just along for the ride.
But the way that I was able to locate the bait, same thing. As soon as I'm able to locate the bait on the lakes, I figure out what the size of the bait is, how the bass are approaching them, how they're feeding on them. I can tailor my tackle to fit that bite. And then once I have that bite dialed, it typically won't change that much day to day. Like that pattern will stick for about a week unless there's dramatic weather. That's the hardest part, not having the experience that the other guys do, is the guy that grew up in Alabama knows how those bass react when a frost like a cold front in the spring comes through and it's like 30 degrees. Like one day it's 75 and the bass are up shallow, and then the next day there's ice on your rod. And so how do you make that adjustment? With experience, you know how to make that adjustment, but since it's all new to me, I'm having to go and figure it out on the day. And so that's the biggest changes and the challenges. And that's why you need so many different rods and so many different setups, because it's all about time management.
Just based on your videos, other people's videos, I'm like, there's so many rods. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I get the time efficiency part where it's like, I know I set it up last night or this morning, whatever, and I can just 2 seconds to switch.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Strategy changes quick. Got it. That's why I would want a bunch too.
Yeah.
But like, again, where do you draw the line? Because then why don't you just bring everything for every situation?
You got to limit yourself, because when you have too many options. So that's what I try to do. My first year I had too many options, and I would find myself trying too many different things versus, I'm getting bit doing X, Y, and Z. I'm going to stick to that and then try to refine that.
Is that tiring though? Because that doesn't turn off though. Like,
I know, you're just constantly going, bro.
You're always, what if I, this color,
Yep.
this retrieval, this.
Yep, exactly.
That
Color
to me
retrieve.
must be more tiring than standing. Well, I don't know because I didn't do it, but the mental vigor that's required to one, do it, but then 2, compete.
Yeah.
You know? Because I think doing and competing is a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's easy to look at a trophy or like a bag,
Yeah.
a limit bag, 23 pounds, whatever. But you don't see all of that
goes
adjustments,
on, all the decisions.
And I'm sure like this Japanese guy he's talking about who's quiet, bro, his up here is just like an engine, full rev.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Just that, I think someone had there's a stat somewhere about how much calories chess players burn.
Oh, just thinking.
Playing games, high level, obviously high level.
Yeah.
And so I was like, wow, you're right. Thinking requires energy. Mm-hmm. And the thinking that goes on with a fisherman one, but then a fisherman competing in a tournament. Yeah. Let's say it's that last leg or whatever.
Oh, dude.
Now you got emotional, nervous. Maybe some guy's trying to punk you. Yeah. All of that.
Yeah.
And then you got to fish. Props to that. Also, do you think to the point about this guy who just don't talk to me, Warden?
Yeah.